Good Thursday morning, everyone. How's it going? Hawk's Nest stream later today over on his channel. Go check out his channel if you haven't already. Sub him up, or at the very least, hang around long enough to watch us stream. Going to be in about 6 hours from this video's upload, 3 o'clock Pacific. Hope to see you there. Today's video is going to be a little more frivolous. And in a season like this, I don't do too much frivolous, right? To me, the little things you celebrate on the way up to the end of the season, I'll celebrate those things a little more when we're actually having a good season. Like, what I'm about to get into today, I don't put a ton of stock into. I don't. We're not having a good season. The team is losing. To me, individual accomplishments, I'll celebrate them a little bit more when we're actually winning games because of those accomplishments. And to be perfectly honest, this accomplishment that I'm about to get into today is not even necessarily one you want to have in a way, but we do have it. So we're going to talk about my favorite player in Seahawks history, Bobby Wagner. And sometimes I say that and people are like, what do you mean Bobby Wagner's your favorite player? All you do is talk about how we should cut him this offseason. And yeah, because I'm a Seahawks fan. And I can tell when somebody's not worth the money anymore. I can tell when somebody's starting to lose his value. I can tell when somebody's about to be over the hill. I can tell. And Bobby Wagner, to cover all my bases here, I don't think he's having an amazing year. But he is about to do a kind of amazing thing. And I don't place a ton of value on the amazing thing that he's doing. I wish he wasn't doing the amazing thing. And I wish he was doing other things that would add more value to this team than the amazing thing that he is doing. But it is still amazing. And I want to take one video to talk about it, to celebrate it a little bit, because look, just because I don't think he should be here next year, and just because I think he's not earning his keep around here, I can't deny that this is a pretty amazing thing, and it is on some level kind of cool, and it's not without its value. So keep all that in mind as I get into this. I'm going to celebrate an upcoming accomplishment from my favorite player in Seahawks history. It doesn't mean that I suddenly think he's the best linebacker in the league. Okay, so Bobby Wagner. Most of you guys already know this, but I want to talk about it for a video. I want to explore this a little bit. So Bobby Wagner has had a career defined by his ability to get tackles. He has been a tackle harvester for basically his entire career. At least 100 combined tackles every year of his career. But this year is going to be special. He is at 152 tackles with 4 games to go. Even though he's playing an extra game this year, this is pretty staggering. His previous season high was 167. If he maintains this pace for the next 4 games, which is certainly on the table, if he maintains pace, he will end up at 199. Extra game or no extra game, that's pretty good. And obviously, for reasons that I've gone into many, many times that I don't feel like I should need to go into again, harvesting tackles is not what makes you a great defensive player in the NFL right now. However, the Seahawks' run defense is actually good. We've really clamped down after some early season struggles where we gave up 100-plus yards to Alexander Madison, I think it was. We gave up some rushing yards to the Niners. We gave up some rushing yards to the, King Henry, but that's King Henry, whatever. But early on, I wasn't really liking what I was seeing, but as this season has gone on, they have clamped down. We're giving up like 3.8 yards a carry, so I can't call this valueless. And I can't call it valueless, but I can call it historic. Let's take a look at the all-time single-season leaders for tackles. All right, so Hardy Nickerson, number 1 with 214. Jesse Tuggle had 200 plus twice, back-to-back seasons for Atlanta. Kyle Clifton did it in 1990 for the Jets, 199. Yeah, Bobby Wagner is on pace to tie for 4th all-time for most combined tackles in a single season. And that's only part of the picture. As you can see in this little pop-up here, PFR admits that prior to 1994, tackle numbers were not recorded very well and should not be taken that seriously. And most of the numbers you see in this part of the column are from before 1994. All of them except for Chris Spielman in 94 and Ray Lewis in 97. So in terms of actually consistently recorded results, Wagner is going to be number 1 if he keeps this up. Number 1 all time. And that obviously loses a little bit of value because, again, extra game. But we are going to see a lot of teams play that extra game over the next few years. We may even see them add another extra game just so they can get back to an even number. I don't know if 200 tackles in one season is going to fall really quickly. Like, if you take a look through this list, most of these seasons were in the 80s or the 90s. You have to go down to Gerard Mayo 2010 to find a season that actually happened after the turn of the millennium. Gerard Mayo 174. Patrick Willis 2007 had 174 as well. Vilma 2005. You actually have to get down the list a little bit before you find seasons, more recent seasons. So the if Bobby Wagner can get to 199 or 200 or whatever he ends up getting at, that's not necessarily a record that's going to lose all meaning just because of the extra game. Like, if you gave Gerard Mayo an extra game in 2010 for the Patriots, I don't think he would have gotten to 200. He had an uphill battle. Let's just leave it like that. He had an uphill battle. So, I'm, again, not a big fan of tackle harvesting, but Bobby Wagner is harvesting tackles at a historic rate this year. And while we won't really have too much to show for this season unless miracles happen, we will quite possibly have a record for single season tackles that stands for quite some time. And I'm not here to dismiss that. Yes, it's because our defense is on the field too much. Yes, it's because we can't get turnovers, so we're constantly facing these long drives where Bobby can get more tackles. Yes, all these things are true. But it's possible that a few years from now, I'm going to be looking at this table and I'm going to see Bobby Wagner, my favorite Seahawks player of all time, at the top of the list. And I'm going to be like, oh, there's my guy. There's my guy. So, hey, if we lose this weekend, which I think we are still expected to do so at this point, we'll see. We'll see if we even have a game at this point, because at this rate, it's going to get postponed. If we lose and we have nothing to play for in terms of actual results, in terms of actually making the playoffs, then I guess this is something we can kind of root for. Bobby get to 200, set a official, or, well, not official, but recorded record, and see how long it can stand. Now, let's do career tackles real quick here. Now, Bobby Wagner already owns the all-time Seahawks record for total tackles. He's got 1,365. To my knowledge, nobody else is at 1,000. Nobody else is at 1,000. Eugene Robinson was like 990 or something. So he already has that record. But let's look at the all-time list here. All-time most tackles. And some of these numbers are partially unofficial and not particularly respected. Like Junior Seau and Jesse Tuggle played part of their career before 1994. However, doing the best that we can with the information that we have, Bobby Wagner is currently sitting at 17th. If he averages 12 tackles a game for the rest of the season approximately, he has a chance to pass Eugene Robinson. if he averages a few more, if he gets a few more, he can pass Carlos Dansby and enter the top 15. Few more players are within spitting distance. Takeo Spikes, Lawyer Malloy. We know Bobby Wagner is capable of having a 20-tackle game. The defense, especially if the defense is on the field forever. So he's got a chance to knock down some pretty big names here. I don't know if we want him to, because it means the defense has been out there for way too long. But nevertheless, the situation is what it is. And while I do believe that Bobby is starting to shy away from contact, I do believe that Bobby is not having the big impact on these games that his stats would indicate. It's something. Somebody has to make those tackles, I guess. And again, if you were to remove some names from this list because some of the numbers are unofficial, and as weird as it would be to do that, guys like Sioux, Tuggle, Clay Matthews, Hardy Nickerson, a lot of these guys played at least part, maybe even most of their career when tackle stats were not really official. So he might be top 10. So I take something from that. I take something from that. Not as much as some of you guys. I take something from that. And before we move on, that's basically all the tackle stuff. I want to talk about Bobby Wagner just overall as a player. His overall abilities, his overall competency, and where he fits in historically, fair or not. Because I'm going to say something right here. Bobby Wagner might make first-team All-Pro this year because he's going to get to about 200 tackles. I don't think that he should, off the top of my head. I can think of some linebackers who I think are having more positive impact on games. But he may do it. And if he has done it, he will have, in some sense of the word, earned it because he farmed a lot of tackles. And where would that put him? If you look at the list of all-time first-team All-Pro selections, the all-time leaders are a couple guys who had 10 first-team All-Pro selections. And then we get down into the nines. A couple guys had 9. We don't get down to any linebackers until you get down to 8, okay? 8 first-team All-Pro selections. Lawrence Taylor, now, you can't compare Lawrence Taylor and Bobby Wagner. They play completely different positions and have a completely different role. I mean, all these guys have different roles in a sense, right? But Lawrence Taylor's a pass rusher. I think we all get that. But in the collection of players that had 8 first-team All-Pro selections, you have Joe Schmidt, who did play linebacker. Great career he had for the Lions. I think they won 3 championships during the 50s. So he played a lot of middle linebacker, made a lot of first-team All-Pros. And you've also got Bill George, who played a lot of positions, a lot of linebacker for the Bears in the 50s. This was back when they played both ways. This is kind of a little hard to parse through, right? Because some of this first-team All-Pro stuff was because what he accomplished at other positions, maybe. It's not just playing linebacker. I know it's a little hard to make these comparisons, but regardless, 8 first-team All-Pros. Now, Bobby Wagner, if we take a look here, if we take a look at his career achievements here, 6. He's made 6. So if he makes it to number 7 this year, if he makes it to 7, he will have pulled into a tie with linebackers like Mike Singletary, one of the all-time great middle linebackers, 7 first-team All-Pros, and Ray Lewis. I think the greatest linebacker of all time if you don't count Lawrence Taylor. 7 first-team All-Pros. So, Bobby Wagner with 1 more first-team All-Pro pulls into a tie with those guys. He's down here at number 6 right now. If he gets to 7, the only other linebackers who can be reasonably compared to Wagner who had more are Joe Schmidt and Bill George. One of those guys played back when they played both ways. The other guy, by the way, I mean, that was a long time ago too. We were talking pre-Super Bowl era with both these guys. So Bobby Wagner will be right there with Singletary and Ray Lewis as the most accomplished middle linebackers of the Super Bowl era. Again, I think tackle farming is overrated. I can't say that enough. This is not me saying I've seen the light. Bobby Wagner's the greatest player in NFL history. But it's pretty cool. And it's pretty cool that he's played his whole career here. I would like this year to be the last year, frankly. I don't want to see him turn into a bad player. I don't want to see him melt away before my eyes. I don't want to see him become just another stiff. I'd rather see him do that on another team if need be. I don't feel the need to squeeze all the blood out of a stone. But we are watching history. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think down below.